recording. All right, we'll be in Revelation 18 tonight. Thought about trying to do 18 and 19 tonight, but I don't know about that because I'm ready to get into the good stuff. Not just, because it's like Jesus is coming back in the next one, so that's like, oof, can't wait to get into that instead of worrying about all this bad and awful stuff, So, but I'll pray here, dear Lord. Thank you so much for allowing us to be here tonight and study your word. Got us. We know it's mystery. You put it in there. You've got the word mystery in there. So just help us to understand what you want us to understand. And above all, remember Jesus is the King and nothing else matters. For it's in his name we pray. Amen. Well, all right. Y'all, we'll just read, I'll tell you what, then you read 1 through 8, and I'll read through 9 through 14, and we'll split it up. That way we all get the blessings. Because I've been thinking about that. I'm like, we always have one person kind of read it and then I read it, but everybody, it's a blessing to read.
Hearing.
Yeah.
So even if they don't read it, hearing it, they're still.
Yes, there you go.
Yeah, I don't read it either.
All right, yeah, you do 1 through 8 there.
After these things, I saw another angel coming down from heaven, having great authority, and the earth was illuminated with his glory. And he cried mightily with a loud voice, saying, Babylon the Great is fallen, and has become a dwelling place of demons, a prison for every foul spirit, and a cage for every unclean and hated bird. For all the nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication. The kings of the earth have committed fornication with her, and the merchants of the earth have become rich through the abundance of her luxury. And I heard another voice from heaven saying, Come out of her, my people, lest you share in her sins, and lest you receive her plagues. For her sins have reached to heaven, and God has remembered her iniquities. Render to her just as she rendered to you, and repay her double according to her works. In the cup which she has mix double for her. In the measure that she glorified herself and lived luxuriously, in the same measure give her torment and sorrow. For she says in her heart, I sit as queen, and am no widow, and will not see sorrow. Therefore her plagues will come in one day, death and mourning and famine, and she will be utterly burned with fire, for strong is the Lord God who judges her.
Kings of the earth who committed fornication and lived luxuriously with her will weep and lament for her when they see the smoke of her burning, standing at a distance for a fear of her torment, saying, Alas, alas, the great city of Babylon, that mighty city, for in 1 hour your judgment has come. And the merchants of the earth will weep and mourn over her, for no one buys their merchandise anymore. Merchandise of gold, silver, precious stones, pearls, fine linen, and purple, silk and scarlet, every kind of citron wood, every kind of object of ivory, every kind of object of most precious wood, bronze, iron, and marble, and cinnamon and incense, fragrant oil, frankincense, wine and oil, fine flour, wheat, cattle and sheep, horses, chariots, and bodies and souls of men. The fruit that your soul longed for is gone from you, and all the things which are rich and splendid have gone from you, and you shall find them no more at all. For the merchants of these things who became rich by her will stand at a distance for fear of her torment, weeping and wailing.
Alas, alas, for the great city that was clothed in her fine linen, in purple and scarlet, adorned with gold, with jewels and with pearls, for in a single hour all this wealth has been laid waste. And all shipmasters, seafaring men, sailors, and all whose trade is on the sea, stood far off and cried out as they saw the smoke of her burning. What city was like the great city? And they threw dust on their heads as they wept and mourned, crying out, Alas, alas, for the great city, where all who had ships at sea grew rich by her wealth. For in a single hour she has been laid waste. Rejoice over her, O heaven, and you saints and apostles and prophets, for God has given judgment for you against her. Then a mighty angel took up a stone like a great millstone and threw it into sea, saying, So will Babylon the great city be thrown down with violence and will be found no more. The sound of harpists and musicians, of flute players and trumpeters will be heard in you no more, and a craftsman of any craft will be found in you no more. And the sound of the mill will be heard in you no more, and the light of a lamp will shine in you no more, and the voice of a bridegroom and bride will be heard in you no more. For your merchants were the great ones of the earth, and all nations were deceived by your sorcery. And in her was found the blood of prophets and saints, and of all who have been slain on earth.
Stuff there. I mean, I looked up the wood, that kind of wood. I'm like, where does what's it called? That wood. Kind of wood was it? Some weird name wood.
Mine says all kinds of scented wood. That was in chapter 12. I mean, not chapter, verse 12, 11, 12.
Every kind of citron wood. Yours says.
Mine says scented.
Ah,
I think it would be like a pine, has a smell, and cedar. Yeah, because cedar wood is a big deal, I think.
well, it says citron wood, also known as thiine wood, is a source from the Tetraclinus articula tree, a conifer native to North Africa and the Barbary Coast, specifically the Atlas Mountains in Morocco.
So like coniferous, like the pine country. I guess, pines are
Mhm.
a conifer tree.
Like, okay, I guess you can get that. They're mainly known from that area, but they could come from anywhere, I guess. So that, you think, oh, hint. But it was weird there in 13. It says, "and bodies and souls of men." Okay. So I'm like, I don't know what that is. But anyway. But going back to verse
It
1.
says enslaves, that is human souls.
Oh, okay. Huh. Version you got again? Howdy.
The English Standard Version.
Okay. That's the one we use at church, right? I think that's the one Sean says.
I think so, something like that, yeah.
Amen.
I mean, I have a King James, but it's a bigger.
I can't read the King James. That's like I got the new King James, but I
Yeah.
can't. King James, thou, all that. I don't understand that at all.
Sometimes when I read it, I might put you, or, when it says thee, it'd be you, and
Mm-hmm.
that's what I was raised on. I was raised on King James Version, so I'm used to it.
Verse 1 here, we're getting a whole new lineup of angels, maybe, because after these things, I saw another angel coming down from heaven, having great authority. So, and the earth was illuminated with his glory. I don't see any capital letters in there, so it's not.
God or Jesus speaking.
Mhm.
When he heard another voice from heaven saying, "Come on from my people." So
Right.
that would either be God or Jesus speaking.
So having great authority, I wondered, like, okay, this must be a pretty high up angel,
Yeah.
too,
Maybe he took the place of Lucifer.
Yeah.
Because remember, he was the angel of light, right?
Mhm.
So maybe somebody had to step in, probably into that position.
Want to illuminate with his glory.
Yeah, I didn't have a whole lit up by an angel.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And they cried mightily with a loud voice, saying, Babylon the Great is fallen, and has become a dwelling place of demons, a prison for every foul spirit, and a cage for every unclean and hated bird. I'm not sure what hated
Mine
bird.
also said unclean and detestable beast. So, yeah, that with the birds.
Oh, okay.
It's pretty bad.
It's like we don't really know who Babylon the Great is or where.
Mhm.
Will Babylon be rebuilt, or is it Rome? Is it New York, Washington, D.C.? Is it Europe?
And China has a lot of stuff that comes in and out from as well.
Oh, yeah.
And those jewels. I don't know that you find frankincense here, so where would you find it? I mean, what is it made of and that sort of thing? What I wonder.
John writing this, Rome would have jumped out at him he would have maybe been like, I don't know, it's like it would have been.
knows.
Yeah, that's true.
May not know where that is.
Yeah. Well, he probably wouldn't recognize, if it was Rome, he wouldn't recognize it today if he sees a picture of it. But at that time, definitely fits Rome, because all the stuff did kind of come out of Rome at that time. So, I don't know. For all the nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication. The kings of the earth have committed fornication with her, and the merchants of the earth have become rich through the abundance of her luxury. I mean, that falls under definitely United States.
Yeah, so as I was reading this one, you think America's not going to be here. Well, maybe it's just not backing Israel anymore. You know what I mean? Maybe it's pulled back away enough that we will, the Americans could be that. And then she's destroyed in one day
Mm-hmm.
or 1 hour. I'm sorry, it says 1 hour, I think. It could be
We brought the world into a huge economy.
that pornography, but I think a lot of that came from him.
Oh, the
I
majority
don't know that any of it
made
came
here.
from over there.
Big seller of it. And then, definitely kings of the earth have committed for it with her. I mean, the United States, they've done all kinds of deals and horrible stuff, but it's still, there's other things too. I think about kings of the earth too, and there's a lot of not kings, but leaders out there that are Catholic. And even going back to like Mussolini, Italy was kind of strange the way they start out with the Axis during World War One. They start out with Germany, and then they kind of leaned over to the American British, and they did the same thing again in World War Two. They started out on the German side, and I know somewhere in there, I'm like, did they see like, okay, they're going to get beat, so I better go with the U.S. And Britain. I don't know. It's kind of weird that they did that. They kind of played defense there. Because I started going down that path with the Roman Empire, and I looked up. It says the Roman Empire never became the church, but then it says that it kind of did. So that's where I was kind of like, Rome is called the Eternal City, and it brims with ancient history from the Colosseum, the port of all its ports, to the port of Ostia Antica, to the majestic Vatican City, Sistine Chapel, because of its history, art, architecture, beauty, and perhaps its gelato and pasta. Rome is one of our most popular cities. So that's where you go down that path. And then I was trying to find where it talked about as far as like what happened in Rome during the war and stuff, and Mussolini and all that stuff. And it said that because I was just trying to go back and look at world leaders. Like Hitler was raised. He was raised as Catholic. He come out of the Catholic system, and then he ended up denouncing it. Mm. And Mussolini, he was atheist, but he later learned he worked with the Catholic Church to gain power, and then he worked with the Pope to get the Pope more power to do more for Italy and Rome and stuff. So those powers kind of work together. It kind of seems like the kings of the earth working with them and going through stuff. So I don't know. It's just you go down different rabbit holes.
Yeah. Well, it's hard to say where it's going to be. Because I'm sure that some other countries think, well, we're it because we do this. Mm-hmm. Thinking, the ones that are there, but yeah, where are you going to find anywhere that's not?
You know that the Catholic Church and Judaism had a complex history marked by both cooperation and conflict. They had periods of persecution and discrimination. The church have taken action to protect Jewish people, and they have undergone significant changes in relationship with Judaism. But they did early on. The Roman Catholic, during the Dark Ages, they attacked Jews and Christians that were not Catholics and killed them. They killed, I forget how many, it was millions. So you say, well, there's something that you persecuted because the Roman Empire killed the prophets. Mm-hmm. And so it's tough, you know. Why did they do that to other Christians because they were considered heretics to them? So, and they killed Muslims. They killed, like I said, Jews. The Catholic Church played a significant role in the development of anti-Semitism, viewing Jews as enemies of God and responsible for the death of Jesus. So Jews were subjected to forced conversions to Christianity, and entire Jewish communities were expelled from Catholic kingdoms. It's reasons for it. It's because they were enemies of God, is what they said. So
Right.
they sound like Islam there. So, you know, it's
And is there a place still that does have slaves? You know, I mean, is that, whether it be Muslim or, is there a
Still
lot of
has-
places that have, well, what we would call slaves? Like we used to, you know, we used to have the black people as slaves and
That in South
they were kind of doing that, kind of reversed it to all white people. You know, I think there is indentured servants for sure.
Right.
Which
I was
is
looking at,
horrible.
you know, slaves that is human souls. So I was talking about that they have slaves. So right now, I don't know that we do, but I mean, in a way we do. You know, you keep those people at your beck and call for very little money, but you take care of them just enough to where they can't really,
All of
give them
us.
enough to leave. So
I mean, all of us. We're controlled by our government. I mean, even though we think we're free, we're not that free.
Yeah.
You know, I always. George Carlin talked about that. He said, "You think you're free? You're not free. You pay taxes on everything, and you don't really own anything because if you're paying taxes on it, you still don't own it. You know, they could take it from you if you don't
That's
pay
right.
those taxes. So I always like, so it's like, but you got the Crusades where the Christians were killed there too, and there's a book out that was called the Trail of Blood. And it was about the Anabaptists that were killed by the Catholic Church. They said there was millions of them, but you go in and dig into that stuff, and that's what that one guy was talking about. What's that one guy's name that I listened to on the video?
I don't know his name.
I forget his name every time. I forget his name, but the video I sent, he talked about that stuff, and he goes pretty deep into it, and he makes a lot of sense. He shows pictures and stuff. It looks like Babylonian stuff that's brought up, and then they talk about there's all kinds of cups in religion, you know. And they do have the Queen of Heaven. They call Mary the Queen of Heaven. So that's kind of creepy because.
For more of a, she's more.
Oh yeah.
I mean, godlike. I shouldn't say godlike, and that's not what he was.
Yeah.
You know,
He's not really.
He's a human being.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it wouldn't be an important person. Marisol was godly. I mean, she godlike. I don't mean to say godlike.
Up like it. You know, it says in verse 4 there, and I heard a voice from heaven saying, Come out of her, my people, lest you share in her sins and lest you receive her plagues. So I was looking up why is the Catholic Church referred to as her? Just trying to find it. It says the Catholic Church is often referred to as she or her due to the linguistic patterns of theological understanding as the church as the bride of Christ. So that's where you could get that, but that's also the church is her, you know. So, but they have things they call the Holy Mother Church. Many Catholics refer to the church as Holy Mother Church, which definitely goes down. It's a mother analogy. The church is described as the mother of believers, providing spiritual birth and nurturing through the sacraments. So, just that's just into something else, you know. When I try to go, okay, well, what else comes into that? The United States is a her.
Yeah.
You know, they kind of call most countries you call her, right?
Mm-hmm.
The motherland of you know. So
I think it just have to, I mean, we're probably not going to know, but I mean, you can see several places maybe, but
you can't pin it down.
I think more of them being as the, not the Antichrist, not the beast, but the false prophet.
Yeah. Yeah.
I see that more. than I would Irving Babylon. Yeah, because that city is nothing. I mean, it's so tiny and people don't go there.
Yeah.
You know, and it's talking about stuff coming out and you're getting all this wealth from there. And they call America, you know, the wealthiest place on the planet. So
Wealth, I was studying that too. The wealth is shifting to that Riyadh, to
Mhm.
Saudi Arabia. A lot of wealth. It's shifting to that area. And I thought maybe that might be what comes up here in the next 10 years because when AI kicks, it's going to blow something up city wise. A place that's nothing could become,
yeah.
you know, who knows? It may be though,
They can
but
build a lot of stuff really quickly
yeah.
if that is their intent.
Mhm.
And you know, I've never been to Saudi Arabia, so I don't know. I mean, I've only seen a few little pictures here and there, but it's really pretty.
There's billionaires that we know of, but then there's the Saudi princes that their money is vast,
Mhm.
you know. So, I mean, they say they say they may have trillionaires. Cool. Yeah, I can't even fathom a million, you know. It's,
Where I'm at.
yeah, I mean,
I don't think it's worth it. It's sort of like this is kind of off a little bit, but the Ozempic, I was taking that and I was feeling indigestion. I mean, it was really bad all the time, and I had an issue going to the bathroom.
Mhm.
And I said, "Is it worth it to keep my my A1C that even?" Because it did,
Yeah.
but I felt bad, and I really haven't lost weight. I mean, a little bit, but that's not why I started taking it.
Mhm.
So I got off of it. So this week has been very nice.
Yeah.
And my A1C is not great, but you know, I think I'd rather do that. So it's kind of like on the things that we do to our body, and
Drugs, most of them, you know, the side effects are worse than what you got. I'm like,
yeah. So it's like, why do
you know,
So, you know, I'm just gonna have to find another way
yeah.
to, you know, keep my A1C level, like no ice cream.
Yeah.
It'd be really smart.
I'm trying to cut out the dense calorie foods because that's where I get over my calories. Where I'm trying to lose weight, it's like I can't have snack. I love nuts and stuff. But
You do some
I'll eat. If I got a jar of nuts, I'll just get a handful. Before I know it, I'm doing this, and I'm halfway down. If you add that up, I just ate 1,000 calories.
Right.
That much peanuts or
Right.
nuts. So I'm like, I can't. I gotta. And Josh, he brings in snacks. I try to say, man, put them somewhere where I don't.
Chip.
Yeah,
Cereal.
chips are awful. I mean, if you read the
Chips.
bag of
I know, sir. You know, almost $6 a bag.
Yeah.
And it's like yeah. Ridiculous.
serving calories per serving, then you look, there's 10 servings, and you're like, it's a bag and it's half full. I'm like, so that's not a lot of food for dense calories, you know. So
Anyway, I didn't mean to get off, but it's like,
no, I was getting ready.
I think mine is like if we quit doing those things, you know, I think people would be a lot better off. And we would lose weight if we just stopped making that pasta. Yeah. Spaghetti. Church
Yeah.
is great. I love spaghetti, but I also know it's bad for me.
You say the seed oils are it's tough on your, you know, regulating your insulin things too. Those seed oils are really bad, which is the soy bean and
You know, I do.
yeah. But if you try to buy anything in the middle of the store, if you ain't around the outside, if you try to buy anything in the middle, it's all got oils. I'm like, I was wanting to buy some dried apricots because they said they're good for something. I forget. Yeah. And then I looked at it. It had oil in it. I'm like, why would you put oil in that? I said, don't get what? Can't you just dry them out and throw them in a bag or what?
It's probably one of those things you drown yourself.
Yeah. That'd be a good idea.
I just think it's interesting the way they, you know, you can see the things we do, whether it be to ourselves or other people, and try to make it better, you know. And
Fruit Loops in other countries has got nowhere near the ingredients that ours has. And there's no dyes. They just use regular
it's like a cherry
fruit
or
color.
something.
Regular color. And I'm like, they don't have to be burning red. Just use a color and that's not going to kill us. You know?
It's
So,
just no color.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, did you seen the fallout with Trump and
I've
Yeah.
heard about it. Dennis was said I need to look into that because he hasn't. And I kind of pulled it up on my phone when we were eating earlier, and I just didn't read it, but I saw several newscasts. So I'm sure that something has happened. But I'm telling you what, Dennis was saying, Elon says, let's, impeach him, which apparently on one of them he did. I don't know. This is just hearsay, and we haven't vetted it. But if he does, because he's a big, he's very important.
mm-hmm.
And so,
Kind of like he's switching back to
yeah, that's what he was saying. What if it could get bad, and what if he decides to run for president? Now, he's not an American. That doesn't mean anything anymore. But it could just not be very good.
He called for the tweet. He called for a new political party. He said that would represent the middle class in the middle part of our country that pays everything, and so he may be hinting down that path and start something different, but because they went back and forth, he said he didn't like the bill that's passed. He said that they raised the debt by $3 trillion or something, or it could go to
I thought Trump was clean it up.
what we doing. That's why I'm seeing Trump is he guaranteed to end all these wars when he got in there. And it's blowing up in his face. He should have never said that stuff. All day one, I'll end up Russia and Ukraine. It's escalated. He said he talked to Putin, and Putin's like, we're going to attack them back, what they did.
Mm-hmm.
They call it Russia's Pearl Harbor. I'm like, well, we know what happened to the country that did that to us.
So it makes you wonder what's coming next.
Mm-hmm.
If he does do something like that, is he leading them into that, the man who will come?
Mm-hmm.
They'll give all the trillions to run the whole, everything. Yeah.
I have a theory. I'm going to put it on here. But what if the one side decided, like we know the liberal side, the Democratic side, it feels like they're trying to destroy the country. And if they say, well, we can't do it, just blatantly do it because they're going to have uprising. We got to do it subtly. So what if they said, well, why don't we hire an actor on the Republican side? And he could run and come against that. We'll do the WWE stuff back and forth. And when he gets in there again, we'll put him in for once and take him out and get them riled up and bring him back. And you could see a scenario, and then he's going to take us right over the edge into we're just in shock. We don't know what else to do, So it's kind of where you're at because he's falling off to me like, okay, you're not doing anything now. So what's happening? Why is it all quiet? He's not usually quiet. I haven't heard anything from him.
I hadn't heard anything until things happened to bring up Trump and Elon. I said no. But then when I work all day, unless something major and they come around, hey, did you hear? And then we'll all go and look. But
seen a lot from Amir's Telegram page. That's where I started seeing it. I was like, ooh, because they come back and forth. Elon talked about the bill, said it's bad. They should have never done that. And he went back and posted tweets that Trump said back in like 2013 that they should never raise the debt ceiling. Trump said that then, and now he's doing it, and that made Elon mad. And Trump come back and said, well, we could save a lot of money if we cut off all your stuff you get for Tesla and space place. He gets a lot of government, whatever.
I did hear him say something like, said, if Trump doesn't do, now this was just reading a little snippet, that he could just, disband the Dragon, whatever ship that he was going to do. He can do that. He does not care.
Yeah.
I really don't think he cares. He says, because he doesn't need Trump. I think Trump needs him more than he needs Trump.
Also said that he's the reason Trump won. And I know that Trump went nuts on that one. And then, but Elon said the reason why what's his name's files hasn't come out, the Epstein files, because Trump's on there. And so that's a blast right there at Trump, So you've got a major war brewing there. And so you see where things are getting more and more chaotic. And where, who knows where we're going. We could be in World War III by the end of the year, possibly. I mean,
I could see that, especially internally too. have that internal fighting, whether it be Democrats or, just certain groups are just going to say, we're done. And I know I hear a lot of that, with and I don't say like rednecks, they're saying they don't need you. And it's not good because they will kill a lot of people. I mean, I'm sure they'll get killed too, but if they come over here, it's just going to be bad for everybody.
Oh yeah, it's
Eventually, they'll decimate us because they're so much bigger than we are.
I mean, Trump has turned. They said that they tried to cover up the Netanyahu thing, said they weren't, but they're actually having issues. And there was 3 officials that are like representing the United States and Israel. They're like ambassadors. I don't know if they're actually ambassadors, whatever they were. There were 3 of them that Trump fired because he said they were too pro-Israel. And I was like, ooh, that's scary. That's dangerous.
Kind of pulling and going towards like Iraq or something. I don't remember. Then I thought that this could be bad. Because if you're pulling away, even though I realize we Christians are, we'll still be judged. I mean, because of our government. I mean,
yep. Well, I mean, we voted him in okay, we thought he was maybe an answer to fight back and.
Well, he did good for a while.
Yeah, I mean, the border, he's getting the border. He said that's where all this money's got to go. Go to the border and get taxes down.
I heard the border was doing pretty good. They
Shut
very few.
Like record, like never been that low. So, and next deporting people. But anyway, verse 7, in the measure that she glorified herself and lived luxuriously, the same measure give her torment and sorrow. And she says in her heart, I sit as queen and am no widow and will not see sorrow. So that's where I went down that road with the, the mother church and Queen Mary's the Queen of Heaven. Again, I'm just trying to make some logic in my head what it possibly could be, because studying this, you're just like, well, just read it. I don't know what else to, so it's hard. So, verse 8, therefore plagues will come in one day, death and mourning and famine, and she will be utterly burned with fire, for strong is the Lord God who judges her. The world mourns Babylon's fall. And also the timing of this. Where is this falling at? Is it falling? Are we at the end of the wrath and the bowls, and then it's Babylon's turn to get hit? Or is this back? Are we going back again?
So, I almost have to read it all over again.
Yeah.
Or just kind of read it through again just to see where this might fit.
Yeah, because I'm like, okay, when does this happen? If it is the false prophet, it's probably the false prophet. So that you take out the false prophet first, and then he throws Satan into the pit for 1,000 years. That's coming up, I think.
That's it. Yeah.
So the Antichrist, has the Antichrist been killed already? But that's what I don't know too. It's like I can't remember stuff, but I don't remember seeing where he's been taken out already.
Right.
So maybe it's coming in 19 and 20. Because I know it says it throws them. They go directly into the eternal pit of fire. I mean, they're gone. They're not coming back. I think it's the false prophet, and then the Antichrist gets thrown directly into the lake of fire.
Satan's the only one coming back in the house, unless he brings his demons with him. But because I don't know if they then either.
So it's like, okay, when is this happening? We don't know what it is. It's just hard to study it, But I was like going down the path again. The whole world would mourn. The cities fall, Babylon's fall. I was like, okay, well, there's approximately 1.4 billion Catholics in the world, representing 17.7% of the world's population. Would they mourn if Rome got just utterly destroyed? Probably, but not it says like the whole world would mourn. So I don't know.
Well, because you wonder, truly, because we've already read the falls and that happened already. So, like you say, looking back, this is what happens, because there's not going to be many people left to mourn.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm wondering. Is this before the some of the tribulation in bowls, or is it, when it's hard
Because
to
they don't
tell.
seem to be angry, at God yet.
Mhm.
Or does it seem to be in this section?
As the kings of the earth who committed fornication and lived luxuriously with her will weep and lament when they see the smoke of her burning. So it's like, okay, well, that kind of takes out the Catholic folks. That's the kings of the earth. So why would they mourn if Rome went down? Awesome. So, it doesn't make any sense there. So, standing at a distance for fear of her torment, last great city, Babylon. It says city there. Does yours say city too? Is a great city in verse 10?
And the king's verse committed sexual, it's her, will weep and wail over her, smoke of her burning. They will stand far off in fear of her torment and say, alas, your great city, you mighty city, Babylon.
Definitely a city, right? It has to be a city. Because they say, well, it's a system. It could be both. I don't know, but it's probably something that's going to pop up in the next. But who knows? We may be 100 years.
This is a city. It could be, like you say, New York, or a specific city over Saudi Arabia or somewhere like that.
That Saddam Hussein was trying to rebuild Babylon. He was trying to rebuild it. So somebody goes in there and builds it, but then again, it's not on port. It's not a sea place. So it don't make sense. Anyway. And then verse 12, merchandise of gold, silver, precious stones, purple, silk, and scarlet. See, purple, silk, and scarlet's kind of tied to, Roman Catholic stuff too. But anyway, we got citron wood, every kind of object, ivory, and most precious wood, bronze, and all the other stuff there in verse 13. So the fruit that your soul longed for has gone from you. The fruit that your soul longed for has gone from you, and all the things which are rich and splendid have gone from you, and you shall find them no more at all. The fruit that your soul longed for.
Well, usually if you're a Christian, your soul and your would long for Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're not, you're going to want anything of the world. You're going to long for that. Well, they probably long for God, but they don't know that, so they fill it up with all that other whatever it is.
In God's eyes, I think, the way it's made, fruit is kind of dessert. It's like the good stuff. It's the fruit that's always supposed to be sweet and, good and stuff. That's kind of why I look at fruit, but I don't know. I'm not a big fruit fan, but anyway, some watermelons are good if I put a lot of salt on them. The merchants of these things who become rich by her will stand at a distance for fear of her torment, weeping and wailing. And saying, alas, the great city that was clothed in fine linen, purple and scarlet. So we got a city that's clothed and adorned with gold and precious stones and pearls. Now, Rome, we're the Vatican City, has a lot of that stuff. It's gold. They use a lot of gold there. So, but there again, this one preacher I listened to, he said that it's got to be a lot bigger than Roman Catholic system. He said, but now I looked at that place in Riyadh, wherever, Saudi Arabia, where they built the 3 buildings.
I've only seen what they thought it would look like, so I haven't seen.
It's there. They didn't want to make any one of them bigger than the other, but they designed them different. You got the synagogue, Judaism synagogue. You got the Islam, whatever they call it, mosque, and then they get a church. I forget what they call it, but anyway, you've got them all 3. I was looking at it last night. It's beautiful. It's beautiful in the background. Those places over there is like amazing. The way the beaches and the beauty of like, you're scared to death to go there. It's like, if anything happens, you're dead. They're going to kill you.
They don't have any problem.
Yeah, I would love to. They show the big city in Israel there. What's the big city there? Tel Aviv.
Oh yeah.
And the beaches and stuff. It's a beautiful place.
You don't see Jerusalem being Babylon.
Yeah.
God City.
Yeah.
I'm not going to let that happen.
Mm-hmm.
I really don't think he would. He's going to say, that's it. Stop it right now. But see, it talks about horses. I mean, we have all that stuff, in America, at least most of it.
Oh, yeah.
That they get from here. I mean, even Israel buys their red cow
Mm-hmm.
from here,
Oh, yeah.
and then they take it over there for their temple.
We sell more stuff to the world than anybody else, I imagine. I mean, I would think. So,
Doesn't it go through mostly New York and such like that up there?
World Trade Center, all that, you know. So,
Luckily, Scudder got out of it.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, he's probably studying this right now up there with, you know, like, oh, okay, now I see what you're saying there. Well,
Now I'm trying to say, listen.
I told him, I said, you definitely introduce us to your wife when you get there. Tell her about us. So when we get there, she'll know who we are. But yeah, I mean, I'm just pray, you know, you hear so many negative people say Christians get mad. There's some people, they're so-called Christians, they get mad if you mention the rapture, pre-trib. No, why are you mad? I'm just my thoughts on it. You don't have to get mad. I mean, if it is mid or
Anybody like that, but I want to talk about it or something like that. I'll say, now, I don't know if you believe it,
yeah,
but I do.
yeah.
So even the people who don't believe in it, I usually say, when it happens, you'll just be surprised.
Yeah. Yeah, you'll be riding right with me there.
Stop you from going to heaven.
Yeah. I just, you know, I just hope and pray it's pre because,
Yes.
you know,
You don't want to go through some of that stuff.
yeah, no, I mean, and
Just let me go ahead and die. Go on. I need that too.
preacher thought they said, you know, you're a heck of a prepper. If you can last this 7 years out, and he said, you might can go out in the woods, but there's not gonna be water. I said, or food. He said, so, I mean, I don't know how you're gonna.
I was even saying, you know, let's say we did that now and you went. They still find you because there's going to be a heat signature. I mean, they have those already. They can find you anywhere.
Mhm.
And so with Elon helping them, you know, with all the satellites, they won't be able to not find you.
I mean, if you happen to be on the coast anywhere close to a coast, you're probably gonna get flooded. You're gonna die because everything that's happened with the
Right.
waters of the earth are poison. So I'm like, man, that's pretty quick. It's over pretty quick after that. I mean, unless you've got a bunch of water stored up somewhere, and then
Then it's going to probably turn to the side. Yeah. Yeah.
say you do store up enough stuff and you got it, everybody else is coming to get it. So you ain't got to worry about the Antichrist too. You got to worry about everybody else that's starving and yeah. So they see you're over there sitting back and enjoying the evening with all your goods. You know, you're dead. So it's just like it's. I hope and pray. Yeah, raptures.
As it says, it's, you know,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
so that's all you, I mean, you can do stuff that is smart, but you're not going to be able to stop people from killing.
Yeah. Oh no.
They're going to come.
As we come out of the Garden of Eden to make kill Cain and Abel, that's not long after the garden, and they're already started. You know, there's probably more than that. That's just a story that got it. You know,
Right.
so. And it talks about rejoice over her, O heaven, and you holy apostles and prophets, for God has avenged you on her. Okay. So something that killed the apostles, killed you holy apostles and prophets. That takes you back to Rome again, you know. So it's like, okay, but
Yeah.
maybe it's the whole region. It's all of Europe, and who knows, you know. But then the mighty angel took up a stone, a great millstone, threw it into the sea, saying, thus with violence, that the great city Babylon shall be thrown down and shall not be found any more. So it talks about, and I remember the one that says, if you hurt one of these young ones, Jesus said it'd be better for you to have a millstone or anything, throw it into the sea. So that's why that kind of brought that up to me. I'm like, okay, so they're doing Babylon like if you've hurt a child. So they've hurt God's children.
Yeah.
You got all the music folks are no more, and
Right.
craftsmen and craft no more. Sound of the millstone shall not be anymore. And all the other.
The light, I mean,
Mhm.
lamps, voice of a bridegroom and bride.
That was a strange one, I thought, too. The voice of a bridegroom and bride. shall not be heard in you
I
anymore.
think everybody's going to be dead.
Yeah.
I don't think about it as,
Mhm.
if let's say a bomb went off, and just destroyed it, you wouldn't be able to go back in it, well, until God fixes it. But I mean, for any time, I think that's why they're standing far off. I mean, God can do something the same, make it like I can't think of the name of the bomb. I need to go home. But, when you get one of those and you can't be anywhere near it.
Yeah.
Dirty bomb. Well, dirty bombs, but also, the big nuclear bomb. Because once it hits, I mean, you can't, everybody's going to be dead. I mean, they get melted, but
There was something I watched too. It went into Chernobyl in Russia. You can't. They said it. I forget how many thousands of years before that place will be inhabitable again.
there's nothing.
Thousands of years.
Yes. I think once God just, destroys everything with fire and brings it back, it'll be different. But
Yeah, oh yeah.
you get a nuclear bomb.
Well, they keep saying over there, well, they may have to use tactical nukes on Ukraine, Russia may. And I'm like, well, once you start that going,
It's not going to.
you don't know how that's going to have repercussions on the earth, and even the tactical, it's still 20 times bigger than what we dropped in Japan.
Mhm.
Even a small nuke today is huge compared to
Right.
those. So, and we know what that did. So, so the light of the lamp shall not shine in you anymore, and the voice of the bridegroom for your merchants were the great men of the earth. For by your sorcery and all the nations were deceived, and in her was found a blood of prophets, saints, and all who were slain on the earth. All who were slain. I mean, is that where the Antichrist is setting up camp, maybe, or?
I guess it could be. He may not, I don't know that he would be here. I mean, you got to have a more central place over there.
Mhm. So
it really is Revelation. It's about the Jewish people. So I would think it'd be over there too. Even though we sound like it's us, because even though Romans, I don't know how far. Let's see, Russia's just over the water from Alaska, right? Like 30 miles, I think.
you can see Sarah Palin used to say, I could see Russia from my house.
Yeah.
So I mean, not far.
They stand off for distance because they don't want that change, whatever judgment it is, to curse them.
It's a mystery, and it'll be interesting to get into 19 and start getting into stuff.
Yeah, the cool stuff.
The thing is, we're going to be gone that 1 week for when we hit 22. We'll do 22 when we get back the next week, so we'll have plenty of time. So that'll be great, but it's just, it's tough not knowing, it's just hard to not get it, but hey, it's part of it. It's mystery. And who knows what's going to come out in the next 5 or 10 years once this AI hits. I truly believe there was an interesting movie on Max. It's called The Mountainhead. And it's all these billionaires get together. It starts out really interesting. It's stupid. It gets stupid on the way through. But it starts out, it's all these billionaires that arrive in their big, nice vehicle. And this place is in Utah or something. It's gorgeous. I mean, the house and the way you look out, it's just amazing. But they're all sitting there on their phones. And they've released AI, something big with AI. And it's causing it to create all these fake scenarios. Like, some of them ain't fake. Like, there's a riot in this city, and these people are getting killed, and this is disaster, and this country's falling, and they're sitting there controlling it. And they're like, well, let's change this, they said maybe we shouldn't do this, but let it keep growing. And if we can get this together, they're trying to get each other's help on stuff and get them to all go in on this one guy that's the richest one all of them and use his platform and they're trying to say, you see what it's doing though? It's already causing chaos. He gets a call, the main dude gets a call from the president, and they start talking about which country they want to take down, like Argentina. So let's figure out how we can overthrow. And he has a meeting with his people, and it's called The Coup, and it's the Coup Crew, he called them. It's funny, it's a comedy, but it's like he sits there and says, okay, how are we going to overthrow the government? And then they start getting on a path of could we overthrow America? Could we overthrow the U.S.? Yeah, it could be done. But I mean, that's where these rich people. It makes you think: do they? They probably really do that because money, getting that powerful.
You know,
Yeah.
'cause-
I mean, who is? Yeah, I think he is.
But his son is also helping him. I did hear about that
Yeah.
quite some time back, that he was in the same path as his
Mhm.
dad. So once dad dies, he'll just step in, take that. But
See where the AI thing, but one of the guys is kind of interesting. He's had cancer or something, and he's afraid he's going to. And his doctor tells him they're on the flight to this place. His doctor said, you'll have good 10 to 15 years left. With these procedures and things, good 10. He said that's not good enough. And he leaves his doctor on the tarmac. They all leave him, just leave this guy standing there like, okay. He said, you're fired, you're out. You're not good enough. And he's trying, the main guy is trying to get to transhumanism. He said, if we get his stuff and add it to my stuff, I can get it there probably within 5 years to where we can go upload. And the guy said, I need to be uploaded within 10 so I can live forever. And I thought, that's maybe where they're at right now. They're saying we can get to that. Yeah.
what is that? I tried to mention his name last time. I can't remember. I still don't remember his name, but
Mhm.
he's
Yeah.
very much into that we are going to live forever.
Yeah.
But I don't know if he means just like mentally like you put your information into a robot.
Mhm.
And that is actually you, because it's actually things like you, but there's a lot of stuff can go wrong.
Vickers said that. He said, well, why would you want to be in a robot, in a computer that, what happens if it has a glitch? You're erased. You're going anyway. So,
They think so.
this is like,
It's easier. Just go to Jesus. You can live forever. Like,
why are they building these things, these power, where they're like the thing in Abilene? There's something that we don't know about. I mean, there's someone that has to power. AI needs a lot of power. That's kind of creepy because they talked about the gigawatts that place is going to. Yeah, and we're in West. Really? Oh, it's it's called Stargate, and they're building Stargate. Yeah, and they're building the platforms for AI and things like that.
I'm just going to put it in.
It is the Stargate project. Is a $500 billion AI infrastructure venture is launching its first data center in Abilene, Texas. The project, spearheaded by OpenAI, SoftBank, and Oracle, aims to establish a major AI computing hub in the U.S. The Abilene site will be the first of what is expected to be multiple Stargate data center campuses across the U.S. So, power capacity. The first phase of Abilene is expected to have a 200 megawatt.
Future, remember?
Yeah.
In the car, it's a gigawatt. And everybody says, what the heck is a gigawatt? And I can tell them there's a gigawatt. There it is.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Very interesting. I did not know that. But then, like I say, I feel like I live in a little, bubble. I go to work, I go to church, I read the Bible, and I may watch TV, but it's stuff like on Prime. And I don't
news.
I don't get a lot of news unless I happen to see it when I'm pulling things up for looking at work.
It's like
I don't know.
AI, major AI computing hub.
But Elon Musk is not behind it, I would assume.
Well, those companies. Yeah, it's OpenAI, SoftBank, and Oracle. So there you have a financial system. Then you've got OpenAI. Then you have the technology platform, the actual physical technology, Oracle, and OpenAI. So, I mean, the computing hub, it's going to have so much power that it'll be able to process stuff so
But
quick.
what'll happen if it explodes?
I mean, I think about building Abilene. I mean, it's Tornado Alley. I mean, it's probably built really well, but it's weird too. This thing's going to be done by mid 2026. So, and it just started.
They see they can build a whole big old thing real quick, especially if they have like over in Riyadh and such like that, or Rome or whatnot, where they can build it with the robots. They don't sleep. You just, and then you just, one gets hurt. I mean, you've broken, you put in a new one. So I can see them building a beautiful city in a short period of time.
Well, I mean, I could see Abilene exploding as far as jobs and things like
Yeah,
that.
this isn't going to be a small town. And if they'll build
Yep.
that, and we're only 45 minutes away.
There, attract people trying to blow it up if they think they can turn it off or something. Once AI starts going, everybody starts losing their jobs because that's coming pretty quick.
When you quit going through the line where your self checkout. Yeah, but we've gotten so used to it that you look at the line, you're going, it's going to take me an hour to get through. Because you only got 2 people working at Walmart. So it's like
Yep.
they're forcing you into taking that easy path.
And it's going to get worse and worse. But yeah, that was very interesting. Talk to Vince about that Stargate stuff and see what he thinks about that because that's coming online here. Well, I mean,
Well, really quick, but this is already June.
about a year out.
This year.
And I'm like, okay, it's a data center. Now, what does that mean? What does that mean? And they say all these ones that Facebook built, they got a huge one in Fort Worth, North Fort Worth.
I
That
feel
thing,
like there's lines there somewhere like
you drive by it, you keep driving by it. What's in there? And they say, well, you got to have all this data.
information.
And you say, well, they're
Which
gonna
is why
make it.
it's so big. Because, they say you can put information like our whole lives could probably fit on a little bitty dot.
Mhm.
So what else in there? It
Well,
can't just be data.
I think it's once they turn on the switch, AI, they'll be able to access everybody in the world. They'll buy your facial. They can pick you out wherever you are. They're tracking you at that point. It's the beast system. Then they need that infrastructure to do it. So that's what I've heard a lot of these preachers say. We're right on track for that to be set up. But these guys don't even know they're building it, probably.
Like I said, I don't know. I mean, some people are just, we just don't know. Because, I don't even know if Dennis knows that.
175 acres for to be set up for data centers. So I don't know how big the one in Abilene is.
Site, power generation, and will leverage renewable energy sources, including West Texas wind farms. That's why we have so many different wind farms, and they're already here. They're just right outside of Albany. I mean, there may be some, but I haven't seen them that close yet. They're coming.
Oh yeah. Well, they said they're also going to use these. They use these little nuclear reactors or some kind of little nuclear power plants. And so I'm like, okay, well, what happens when one of them gets hit by a tornado? Are we having a meltdown or what? So it's dangerous. But it talked about the water they have to have. And, I forget what the number, gallon. It was hundreds of millions, but they said it's going to be once you fill it, it's going to recycle it. So it's going to keep it in. But I'm like, where are you getting all that from in the desert? You're almost in
Well, let's say take it. You know how Israel, they can get the water from the air. That's how they water. I've always wanted to know how they do that, but I'm sure it's something I can't do here. I mean, but if you could, it's just taking the water out of the air and you're using it.
It's like your humidifier you put in your basement. We used to have one. You'd have to empty that bucket of water out of there.
Yeah.
Dehumidifier, yeah. So, but yeah, interesting stuff.
I'm gonna keep that up until dinner.
It's coming back.
Yeah.
Good stuff. All the questions. So we pray for us and head on out. Dear Lord, thank you so much for your word. And we know that you'll protect us during the time. We pray that we're right on that, on the rapture, Lord. We just pray that we're right on that you'll protect us and get us out of here before all this crazy stuff happens, Lord. And we know your righteousness and you are true for doing it because you're a just God. And we love you and praise you. For it's in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
What was it? Titus 2:13 or something talks about that, that. One of the guys I used to listen to all the time. I haven't seen him in a while, but then I also